Many people don't hold themselves back because they doubt their abilities. They hold back because somewhere along the way, being invisible felt safer than being authentic. Welcome to Soul Time, a show that explores the world of unlocking your unique potential. My name is Dr. Katja Makowka and I'm a teacher at school, a former teacher at universities, and a stress and mental coach. And I'm your host. Have you ever noticed how many capable people quietly hold themselves back? People who are thoughtful, kind, intelligent, full of potential. People who could speak up, try something new, share an idea, raise their hands, apply for the opportunity, but don't. Not because they lack ability, not because they don't care, but because somewhere inside it don't feel safe enough to try. And here is a truth we don't talk about enough. Before we care about success, especially as a child, we care about belonging. Belonging to our family, belonging to our friends and colleagues. And especially children are incredibly sensitive to one question. Am I still accepted when I'm different, difficult, slow, emotional, or unsure? Very early on, many children learn not through words, but through atmosphere. What is welcomed, what is not, and what is tolerated and what is not. Sometimes it's not about don't fail, it's don't be inconvenient, don't take up too much space, don't be so loud or too shy. Don't stand out too much. So children adapt. They become easy, quiet, helpful, strong. Not because that's who they are, but because that's who feels safest to be. This is not about blame. It's about awareness because adaptation often looks like maturity, but inside something is being held back. Many capable people didn't learn to shrink because they were weak. They learned to shrink because they were aware. They noticed moods. They noticed expectations. They noticed what created harmony and what disrupted it. So they learned, I will adjust. I will wait. I will not need too much. And this is especially true for sensitive children, highly empathetic students, kids who sense responsibility early, children who don't want to burden others. And later in life, this can sound like, I don't want to be too much. I don't want to disappoint people, especially family and friends. Or I don't want to get it wrong. And suddenly, holding back feels like kindness, what it's absolutely not. Or like being reasonable, like being mature. But over time, this self holding becomes self silencing, the inner voice, intuition, dreams, visions, and goals. And this is important for all of us who work with young people. When someone isn't stepping forward, we often think they lack confidence. They are not motivated or they don't believe in themselves. But often the deeper truth is they don't feel safe enough to be visible. Trying is not just an action. Trying is exposure. And exposure requires inner permission. You can't demand courage where safety is missing. This is why pressure backfires, why comparison shuts people down, and why you just need to believe in yourself rarely works. Because belief grows after safety, not before. So, what helps people, especially young people, stop holding back? It's not louder encouragement, it's not higher expectations, it's relational safety. Safety that says you don't have to perform to belong. You can change your mind. You are allowed to grow slowly. You don't lose connection when you struggle. When children experience this, something powerful happens. They don't need to protect themselves anymore. They don't need to shrink. And they don't need to be perfect. And only then does real confidence emerge. Not the loud kind, but the grounded kind. And as adults, we shape this more than we realize. Every time we stay present instead of impatient, respond instead of react, separate worth from behavior, and allow ourselves to be human, we send a message. Not try harder, but you are safe to try. You don't raise brave children by demanding bravery. We raise brave children by being safe places. And the same is true for ourselves. And this is important to say. Creating safety doesn't mean we wait for perfect conditions. It doesn't mean we wait for the outside world to finally feel safe enough before we move, speak, or grow. Because many children and many adults don't grow up in environments where safety is consistently given. So the work is not only external, it is also internal. When safety isn't reliably available on the outside, we have to begin cultivating it on the inside. Inner safety means learning to stay connected to ourselves even when things feel uncertain. It means offering ourselves permission to try without needing approval, applause, or guarantees. It means building a relationship with ourselves that says, I can be here for me even when it feels uncomfortable. And this is not something we teach through instructions. We teach it by example. When children see adults self-regulate instead of self-attack, take small steps without waiting to feel ready, honor their feelings without letting fear decide everything, they learn that safety is not only a place, it's a skill. And that skill changes everything. So, as we come to the end of today's episode, I want to invite you into a quiet reflection. Where did you learn to hold yourself back? Not because you weren't capable, but because it felt safer to belong than to be fully seen. And where today might you gently allow yourself, or a child, a student, a young person in your life, to take up just a little more space? Because here is the balance I want us to remember. Yes, safety in our environment matters deeply. Children need adults who respond with presence, patience, and connection. And we as adults shape that more than we often realize. But safety is not only something we wait for. It is also something we can begin to build within when the outside world feels uncertain, when approval is missing, and when conditions aren't ideal. Inner safety becomes a quiet anchor. And inner safety is the ability to stay connected to ourselves while we try, to take a step without needing perfection or permission. And to remind ourselves and model for our children that discomfort is not danger and growth doesn't not require fear. When children see adults who can pause instead of collapse, who try again without self-attack, who allow themselves to be human, they learn something powerful. I don't have to shrink to belong. I can move forward even when things aren't perfect, and I'm safe enough to try. And this is where potential truly unfolds. Not under pressure, not through force, but through safety inside and out. If we want the next generation to live fully, to trust themselves, to use their voice, to step into who they are becoming, we must show them how. Consistently and with compassion. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to Soul Time. I'm very grateful because you have given me the greatest treasure of your life, your time. If you enjoyed this episode, click the subscribe button so that you get a notification every time a new episode is out.